The cultivation of olive trees in the world is very ancient. It has especially developed in the Fertile Crescent and around the Mediterranean belt. It was found among the Greeks and also the Romans. In Egyptian sanctuaries, drawings of olive trees were discovered. The presence of olive trees in the regions of Nyons and the local barony goes back a long time. 2,600 years ago, when Phoenicians came to Marseilles, they sailed up the Rhone Valley and adjacent valleys such as the Ouvèze Valley and the Aigle Valley to create counters and sell their production. They taught the native people of the time how to cultivate the olive tree, which already existed but was a wild tree called oleosta. They taught them how to grow and prune olive trees, to extract the oil and also to keep the fruit, which gave this olive grove that we have nowadays in the region of Nyons and the local barony. This specific variety of olive grove is called in French tanche, tanque d'arbre. It adapted itself to the fertility of our soil and also to the climate's vagaries. In 1956 there was a very severe winter. There was a thaw with beautiful sunny days at the beginning of February. Sap flowed naturally up the trees. But unfortunately, a few days later we had intense cold and heavy snowfalls. The sap froze. The elders say they heard the olive trees moan when their branches broke under the pressure of the frozen sap. The consequences of this frost were quite catastrophic, being given that the population needed to be fed. It was then the advent of the vine and the production of certain fruit trees, such as apricot trees and cherry trees. There was also recognition of the benefits of olive oil on health. The new infatuation of consumers for these quality oils pushed the profession to seek to obtain the French AOC label in order to launch on the market a natural product without reproach, guaranteeing consumers the origin of the product. Before 1956, there was a considerable number of trees, more than 2 million. Today, the appellation area currently counts 250,000 trees. After these great frosts, some olive growers kept a few numbers of small branches and left them to regrow from the rootstock of the tree. They cut the frozen trees so that the new trunks could grow and bear fruit quickly. The olive tree, tanche, is a tree which has few male hormones. You have male hormones and female hormones in the flowers, and you must have a greater presence of male hormones. The ancients had found that the Caillon variety was compatible to pollinate the tanche trees. That's why the olive growers grafted branches of Caillon onto them. Olive growing is seasonal. It flows throughout the year. In March, April and May we prune the trees, rumbundre as we say. We will remove the branches that bore olives, because a branch covered with olives will no longer bear fruit. We will proceed to the pruning stages. We will remove the shoots growing upon the branches. Then, of course, there will be a time to do some plowing. We will also bring amendments to fertilize the soil, and we will be especially vigilant throughout the year with the presence of insects. Particularly in June, July and August, of this so-called tachus, a fly which lays its eggs in olives. The larvae develop and make them, therefore, inedible. Harvesting tanche olives in our region occurs when the fruit is ripe, in December or January. The fruits are collected either by hand or with small combs or small vibrators. We take the trouble to put on the ground small nets to cushion their fall, and we must take certain precautions to avoid damaging and altering the fruit. This way of harvesting olives is very old, since the Olive Museum owns a reproduction of a painting called a trumeau found in a middle-class house. We have in the region of Nyons this tradition of échalasson. We still find at harvest time such small ladders used in orchards. There was a time when the trees were significantly higher than they are today, because we had to pass horse-drawn carts through the fields and therefore be able to pass under tree branches. Today we harvest normally at head height. The saqueton is a traditional bag used to harvest olives in the region of Nyons. It's a bag that we put around the neck and which is held open by an iron rod so that we can easily put inside this saqueton olives that we harvest with our hands in the branches. After harvest, we had to calibrate the olives so that the most beautiful ones were processed for canning. The dry were sieves. They were drilled with holes of a certain diameter. It was generally 14 millimeters. In order to select the smallest olives which fell, passed through the holes, the biggest olives remained inside, allowing the sorted olives to head towards the factory. The Nyons Tanche olive is first of all a table olive, that is to say, an olive that has its bitterness taken away so that you can eat it as it is. The black olive is put into a brine at almost 10% for a period of 5 to 8 months. During this period, the brine gradually penetrates into the olive's flesh and will take away the bitterness, making them edible. The second method is what we call quilted olive. That is to say that, at the moment of harvest in December, we will make small holes in the skin of the olives and simply soil them. 7 to 10 days later, we will have edible olives. When we have smaller olives, we can perfectly get a wonderful oil from Tanche olives. All of the equipment necessary for the processing of olives was partly made in the region of Nyons. We had a workshop in particular, called the Rowe Company, which made mills intended to crush olives. We also had extractions of millstones under the rock of Chapelle de Bon Secours, which were used to equip the mills in order to crush olives. More recently, we also had a craftsman who manufactured and developed more or less automatic calibrators. Then there was, of course, the industry of Scourtin, which was created in the region of Nyons in the 19th century. And we still have a scourtinerie that manufactures scourtin, coconut-based fiber, used for pressing the olive paste to extract the oil. This scourtin industry also allowed many mills in Nyons, in the region, and also mills abroad to be equipped. Olive containers are diverse. There were estagnons, pottery containers that were called douilles, or dourgues, of different shapes, and you have beautiful models that are exhibited in the Olive Museum. The oil were kept in grocery stores in tin plate gerles, which allowed customers to buy any quantity of oil. We bought our oil the same way as we bought our milk at the time. We could purchase retail oil. There were many mills in the region of Nyons. Many large estates actually had their own mill because they had a large number of olive trees. Agricultural cooperatives did not exist yet. The first cooperative mill in the region of Nyons was installed in 1923. Small contributors, people who had few olive trees, or even the biggest owners, could bring, and still bring today, their olive production to the Nyonse Olive Oil Cooperative. After sorting out the olives intended for canning, called table olives, the remaining olives were brought to the mill to be crushed in order to extract the oil. They were then placed with their stones in the tank of the mill, because there is a substance which allows better preservation. We used a stone grinder on these olives in order to obtain a paste. It was put in scourtin, pressing mats, types of Basque berets made from coconut fiber, and these scourtins were then piled up in presses to get the first cold pressure. During this phase, water, oil, lees and vegetable water will come out and we will have to extract the oil from it. The elders let nature do its work. They put them all together in settling tanks, the so-called hell, because the products are inedible at this stage. Because oil is lighter than water, it rose up to the surface after some time. Once the oil is collected, it will go into other containers that we call heaven or paradise. There were mills with pouring gas engines, mills that functioned with the force of water, with hydraulic power, systems with paddle wheels or troughs. There were also the so-called blood mills, driven by a donkey or a mule. The millers used what is known as the second hot press, which consists in removing the scourtin, kneading the paste with hot water, and we obtain at this point non-edible oil called lampante. This lamp oil is used for oil lamps, to lubricate mechanical parts, and quite often to heat homes. Of course, these lamp oils are also used in the elaboration of no-sale soaps and some cosmetics. The Olive Tree Guild was created in 1964 by local people who had fallen in love with the olive tree. This brotherhood was created in order to promote homegrown Nyons olives and their oil, which are so particular products, but also to promote throughout the world these products and the material and spiritual values that this tree represents. The olive tree in the Judeo-Christian world has always been present during baptism, at the moment of communion, and unfortunately during the sacrament of extreme unction. There's also the dove returning with an olive branch in its beak to let Noah know that life had returned on earth. It's all a symbol. The Olive Tree Guild annually organizes festivals around the production of the King of Trees. It organizes, in February, the Alicoque Festival, which celebrates the new oil. It is a tradition that consists in rubbing a crouton of bread with garlic and putting new oil on it, and, of course, accompanied by good local wines. Some people call it capundaye, but for us it's the alicoque, which means garlic and shell, the bread. In July, we organize a big festival called the Olivade, in honor to the future olivaison, or olive harvest, where visitors discover this heritage, which sometimes is unknown to them. The products from the tree, the olives, the oils, the olive paste, the tapenade, all these great products from the Tanche olive. One of the Guild's most important actions, and of course followed by the olive growers, the cooperative, and also the politician of the region, was obtaining in 1994 the AOC label for Nyons black olives and its olive oil. This was the first AOC label in France. Our guild brought oil to the mill to obtain this distinction. Dear friendly visitors, I invite you to come and taste the olives and oils from our production. You will enjoy tasting olives obtained by extrudation. These are olives which were processed in a sealed jar without adding any other product. Here you will be able to enjoy pure fruit unaltered by the presence of salt. The second tasting we offer is olives in brine, the Nyons traditional method, as the most traditional method that can exist. We have plunged the olives in a 10% brine. The brine has slowly penetrated into the olives and taken their bitterness away. You also have extra virgin Tanche olive oil, obtained after the first cold press. The characteristics of these oils are, for the nose, the scent of green apple, and, for the mouth, a very buttery almond and hazelnut taste. You will see that this is something with a very round taste. It is the oil's particularity, made with mature fruit. You will enjoy the tapenade, olive jams, this is quite particular, and olive paste, which is also a wonderful product. You will discover in the shop near the museum products for wellness, soaps made with olive oil, and cosmetics for skin care. So, dear friends, Thank you very much for your visit, and note that we are at your disposition to receive you again.